Let me just let it get to the switchboard and we'll talk about what a great job you're doing with, well, how's it going? I'll ask you. Never don't answer me. I'll
Sure.
ask you. I'll ask you that question when it gets
Sure.
time.
Yeah, happy to give some overview of how it's doing.
Okay. All right. Uh, what? Wait. What is happening? Why is this not working? Shoot. This just gives everyone a chance to. Okay, we're live. So, good afternoon, everybody. It's me, Angela Fobbs, the chair of the Global Black Caucus, bringing you another episode of DA Discusses. And today we are here talking about Power the Polls with Scott Duncombe. He is, go ahead and introduce yourself, Scott.
Hi, thanks for the intro. My name is Scott Duncombe, and I'm one of the co-directors of Power the Polls, a brand new effort that's bringing together a ton of folks to try to recruit 250,000 poll workers to help fill the anticipated gap ahead of the November election caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, great. So the reason that I asked Scott here today is because each and every one of us has friends and family members and acquaintances that we know that could help staff the polls, that are in good health and are, that we don't need to have, like my mother used to work at the polls all the time. My mother is 70, I don't know, 74. And she can't work at the polls this year, like it's,
Yeah.
so we need young, healthy people. And by young, I don't just mean like 18-year-olds. If you're 30 or 40 or even 50, you can do it. It's very important because there's so many places that aren't going to be able to, you're not going to be able to do mail-in ballots. So Scott, can you tell us a little bit about how you got started with this program?
Sure. Well, it like a lot of groups, I come to this. It's a big coalition, and I come from the organization Pizza to the Polls, and us, like a lot of other organizations, we're sort of rethinking our 2020 strategy after the COVID-19 pandemic. So we had stopped sending pizzas, and there was a lot of folks thinking, how can we come together and create, and fill this poll worker gap. In the case of Pizza to the Polls, we wanted to make sure that we had someone who could safely distribute food at the pizza places. So we joined forces with a ton of great folks: Civic Alliance, the Safe Voting Fund, MTV Viacom, Patagonia, other folks like that, who were all kind of thinking about it, and we kind of came together around this unified brand, the Center for Secure and Modern Elections. I keep remembering partners, and in late June, early July, launched this really cool program to try to recruit the gap. And as you mentioned, we think it takes about 1 million poll workers to run a general election in the United States, and in about half of those poll workers are over the age of 60. And so we have a lot of folks who are going to be really at risk. And we've seen the outcomes when those poll workers don't show up because they're nervous and afraid. We saw that in Georgia, in Wisconsin, and it leads to huge lines, polling places getting closed, putting more people at risk.
Yeah, well, was really timely, really right on time, because we need everybody to vote. And Scott's organization is nonpartisan. And in this way, so are we, in a certain way. Like, we just want you to vote. It's up to you who you vote for, but we need to have the mechanism in place to vote. So if I wanted to have my nephew, if you're watching, nephew, please sign up. If I wanted to have my nephew go ahead and help power the polls, what would he have to do?
Great question. So just head over to powerthepolls.org, where you can sign up. It's real simple. You can sign up with your zip code, and then we're going to send you over to your particular county or sometimes even towns election website, which is provided by one of our partners, workelections.com. And so what we do is we send you over to your local site where they're going to have their own form that you're going to fill out. We're going to follow back up to make sure you're able to fill out that form successfully, and also make sure that once you fill out that form, you hear from your election administrators, and so you're able to kind of get placed. And then once you get placed, you get connected with your local election administrator. There'll often be a training. So those are happening virtually, but sometimes they're in person. And in often cases, you're going to get paid too, which is a kind of nice perk. So it's not just volunteering; it's serving, and just like jury service, you get sometimes compensated for that service.
Yes, it is very important, and you do get a little money for it.
Yeah.
So, it's well worth it. So if you have one of your children, a sibling, aunt, an uncle, anybody that's living in the States that is young enough and healthy and doesn't have any underlying concerns, they don't have high blood pressure or diabetes, please ask them to do this. It's really, really important. What else should we know about this program, Scott?
Yeah, well, I love that you talked about you said it was your mom, right, who would volunteer, and
Yeah.
it's really cool how poll worker it's an amazing tradition, I think, among folks, and so we're really hoping to inspire kind of a next generation of folks who maybe are a little more representative of their community. Poll workers tend to be older, they tend to be whiter. Sometimes we're hoping younger poll workers will maybe have the language skills that more represent their community, and the technological skills that can also be really helpful in sort of debugging and keeping polling places working. So we're looking forward beyond 2020. We're really hoping to inspire sort of a civic tradition among folks. The folks I talk to who have been poll workers really take a lot of pride in it and really make it part of their every 2 or every 4 year tradition of going there and being part of the polls and connecting with the community. So, like, being a little more optimistic beyond the pandemic, we're really excited about what hopefully this can become, and what folks what this level of service from younger folks will do to their polling places.
Yes, it will make a big difference. And once you start, my mom has been doing this since she retired. I don't know, my mom's been retired for quite some time now, about 15 years. And I think this is probably going to be her first year she doesn't do it. So once you start, you'll like it. And it's nice to meet all the people, to feel like you're a part of our democracy, taking an active part. So please, I encourage you to, if you're going back to the States for the election, which I know some people do, consider being a poll worker. And the link is in the comments section, and it's also in the header of this post. If you have children that are there going to school or working or whatever, if you have other relatives or friends that maybe have some spare time on their hands, please ask them to consider doing this. It's really important because the election can't be successful if we don't have people to power the polls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also want to plug. Sometimes they do allow 16-year-olds to serve as poll workers. So even not quite yet registered voters can be helpful. So.
I'm so sorry, you guys. I forgot to close the window. And I live in a really small town in Germany, but I live right down the street from the fire department. So whenever there's something, it comes rolling past my house. So sorry about that. I'll try to remember next time. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Scott?
No, I think you really, I feel like you really plugged. It's great to connect with someone who's got a connection in the tradition of poll working. And we're just really excited. Let's see, I guess our goal is to recruit 250,000 folks. We're about halfway, a little over halfway there, which is really exciting. But really would love for folks to sign up and to be part of this year's election and to help make sure we can power the polls. So thanks again for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for joining me. And again, the link is in the comments section of this post and also in the header for Power the Polls. The link for absentee ballots for overseas voters from Vote From Abroad is there. If you happen to be seeing this and you live in the United States, there's a link for iwillvote.com. So please vote and also consider powering the polls. Thank you so much, Scott, for coming. And we wish you the best of success, because your success is our success.
Thanks.
So
Thank,
have a great day.
great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And
Take it easy.
we'll see you guys next actually we'll see you this evening. We're having a Eleanor Smeal is joining us for our continued women's suffrage centennial celebration, and we hope that you will join us. So thanks everybody, and have a great day.